of the hull is getting pretty well developed now. There's still some lumps in it. And we had to let this in for the bronze straps. We put our first plank in going down that has a caulking bevel in it. You see it starts here. Because when it's all bare wood, you can't see the difference in the shape. You can actually feel the lumps as you go over.
All right, we're up on top with Clint Malone. It's a new segment, On Top with Clint. On top. All right, it is Friday, December 5th. A lot of things to look at today. We haven't been here for about 3 weeks. So let's hook up with Doug here.
The shape of the hull is getting pretty well developed now. There's still some lumps in it. And we had to let this in for the bronze straps.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do that before we sanded the hull because you have to know how deep to go. Like there's a little bit left here on both sides, probably another 1/16 to go. Yeah, well, if you remember how the hull looked when the planking was rough, you know, the seat was all like that. Now we're taking out the outside shape, emulating what we did as we put each plank in on the inside shape. From here forward, there's not much of that going on. But it from about about a midship's aft, it gets more and more radical. So there's a lot of shaping back in here, especially. All right.
What's been going on?
So the last 3 weeks, we decided to get as much of this stuff done as we could before we moved the scaffolding up. It's got to be done anyway. And a lot of it was cutting and making plugs and plugging, cutting the plugs off, carving out the transom area for those bronze straps. We took a Sawzall to get the exhaust through hole out, that big through hole. And using a heat gun, we melted all the 5200 off of that. Big pipe wrench, unthreaded it, cleaned it up. And we put it back together, put it back in, so we don't lose track of that.
Couple more. Look at that. Go take a look at that.
Yeah, a couple more planks since you were here. And then we got Rich started on the sanding on the last 2 planks. In fact, I think he's done, isn't he, or almost?
He might be almost done. What are the last 2?
8 and 9 that he hadn't painted yet.
Oh, okay.
And
installed already?
Oh yeah. So as soon as we're through making all this dust, then he can come back in and do that painting. We put our first plank in going down that has a caulking bevel in it. You see it starts here at about frame 46 or 7 and goes about, I don't know, 15, 16 feet.
Okay, so that is the line that was actually cut in.
Right. That's the caulking bevel. It's like the ones down here below the waterline.
Okay.
That's below the waterline. And so as we add planks now, which won't be until we get back down here, they'll have a caulking bevel that continues to lengthen as each plank goes in until about the 4th plank down. The caulking bevels will run full length to match up with these down here. One of the reasons we wanted to shape this too is because now when we come back to do the closing planking, we'll have that dimension and this dimension, which are pretty much finished, to match up to with our new planks. So that when it comes time to shape that, it won't be nearly as long as this because it's smaller, but we also won't be lost in space on the dimensions and what the boat shape is really supposed to be like. Because you can do that. You can get crazy and sand too much off or not enough. And you can see that the hull is now pretty well defined, the shape of it.
Yeah, it looks great.
We got some detailing up near the top edge. We got some board sanding, which Clint started. We put a little white primer on it, so if you look dead ahead on the stem, you'll be able to see how, from one side to the other, whether you're true or not to the shape. Like you can see it by that top bolt, there's a little bulge. That needs to be taken down a little bit, because when it's all bare wood, you can't see the difference in the shape. You see what I mean? The white is what you're leaving for now, so that you get a good crisp line out here on the stem, which is a projection of the plank shape out here. Otherwise you get this lumpity bump. You couldn't do it. So once you get that real crisp and it's symmetrical, then you can come in and shape the roundness. Also, if we come over here, you can look at the stem from the side, and now with the white paint on there, you can stand here and see the shape.
Sure.
Okay, it's a little strong up towards the top, that's okay. And of course, it's not quite finished down at the bottom, but we left just enough material to keep that nice line. And while it's still flat and white, you can run a batten on it and see if there's any voids or lumps in it. So the next thing now, after this is done, the side faces, we'll get the front face really nice. So you got 3 flat faces. Then all you do is just work your radius into those. So that's about it on
Well, so it's been days of work shaping that hull?
Days. Plus the plugging. You got to cut 3,000 or 4,000 plugs, you know. You got to cut them off. And there's been a lot of repairs up in the old shear strake too.
Okay, what do we have going there?
Well, there were some loose plugs that were popping out just because the glue died years ago. So we had to carefully get those out, clean up the hole. In some cases, re-countersink and put a new fresh plug in. On the hull itself, the new work, we've had to, what do you think? I don't know, a dozen or more per side, screws and bolts. We've had to knock them back out and re-sink them because of especially back aft where the hull is very radical. You counterbore as deep as you think you should, but sometimes when you start sanding, that plug gets a little close to the surface, so you want at least a 1/4 inch plug in there. So half a dozen or a dozen per side, we had to pull them out, re-counterbore them, and sink a new bolt or screw in. Then this rib band, we'll take that down today, and we got some doweling on the inside to do. It's mostly cosmetic. We're gonna do it now while we don't have stuff in the way. That way we can sand it off nicely and Rich can paint it.
And now why take off this
Rib band?
the rib band?
Just because it's in the way, and then especially when we start working on the inside, we might want to pass pieces up through that opening.
Gotcha.
This was relatively accessible. It's in here.
Can you go in there?
Yeah, that way we can see what the heck we're talking about here.
Okay.
And there's some drains we want to address here pretty quick. While we still have light and access.
Okay.
Now that big butt block we made, that goes here.
So that was the big butt block, right?
Yeah.
You already made that. We saw that.
This thing is massive.
But this was, I thought this had already gone back in.
What, this thing?
Yeah.
No, it goes in the plank below here. We just cleaned it up so that it can be taken apart again.
Ah, okay.
And
it was probably all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was real bad.
Yeah.
Had lots of 5200 on it, and so we had to melt that away with a heat gun and scrape it off and
Gotcha.
wire wheel it. Yeah. And these hanger bolts, you know, they were okay.
Okay.
So we can reuse those.
Those just go into the butt block.
Mm-hmm. And the planking.
And the plank, right?
So we're thinking that we'll probably glue that butt block to these 2 planks that it laps over.
Can you pull this up?
Yeah, thanks. And there's another drain that goes here.
Okay.
So we've got that marked. And in the transom drains, we have to reroute those. If you recall, they went down and then back uphill. again, so.
Right, those were always bad.
Yeah.
Those never worked.
We started the board sanding here, which is basically, I'll just do a few seconds for you as a demo.
Okay.
Use a bigger board eventually, but this will do for now. Once you get it to this state, you can feel various lumps and bumps. So you want to come in like this, about a 45-degree angle from the planking. And then once you've gone, a few feet or so, you can feel it again, and then you come back and another, at the opposite angle. You can actually feel the lump as you go over them. And so forth. The one right here. But it's getting there. A little bit there. And you want to take nice long strokes so that you don't concentrate on any one spot. And the best way to do it is just keep moving up and down the hole, round and round till you pretty much have it. A little bit more detailing up here.
So you're saying it's a little high, so high, but you can feel it coming off the
yeah, you can.
plank. You can feel it go down.
Oh yeah, yeah, you can. But like right here, this one seam, you can really feel it. Well, it takes it down faster than you think.
What grade paper is that?
80.
80.
Yeah, you don't want to go much heavier than that because you put deep scratches in it.
Right.
Which is not the end of the world because you're gonna.
Are you going to do a light sanding as well before you paint?
No, you want about this tooth, what they call a tooth, because the next thing after this is shaped. Finally, you'll see all these scratches. That's good. Those are good little scratches.
Holds the paint, holds the Smiths.
Yep.
So you're saying you're going to coat this thing now in Smiths?
Mm-hmm. There's a flying by, and I don't know why he chose my place to suddenly come by. Yeah, and then it takes the Smiths good, and then the primer goes on, and then when you sand the primer, you'll actually go through it a few places on these little tiny ridges, and that'll show you that you've got good tooth, what they call a tooth. As the hull flattens out, it's a lot easier to keep the sanding pad flat, and so it really diminishes quite a bit. Now, from where you're standing,
You feel it's very beautifully smooth.
yeah, now you can see the shape of the hull back here, how it's getting more and more well defined. You see how there's still some glue around the old plugs?
Okay, yeah.
When you get to that stage, you know you're almost there. So, what we've done.
So you want to sand it down so you don't see any more glue.
Exactly. It'll look like this.
Ah, okay. You see the nice little, the head's perfect.
Yeah. Yep.
Not like this.
That's one of the many things that tells you you're getting close, outside of feeling it as well.
Right.
And then up here, at the stem, it's sanded pretty close now. But you see this right here? That little bit left?
What do I see?
That little,
It's a little raised.
yeah, that perfectly corresponds with this lump that now shows up out here with the white paint.
Okay.
This goes burp, not a 16th, but almost. So that's why you use this primer. Now you can really see the shape of this thing, because looking at that yellow heart blending into the mahogany, you couldn't see what was going on. And the same here, when you finally get this finished, you come in with your board sander, but this is real close now.
Clint's already gone up. We're going up the ladder. All right, guys. If I fall, it's been nice knowing you. It's been nice knowing you.
Grab something.
Whoa. All right, we're up on top with Clint Malone. It's a new segment. On top with Clint.
On top.
On top.
So here I was.
So what we got going? here?
Let's see here. We got a bunch of bolts that have been trimmed.
Ooh, look at all that. I mean, all that silver, all
Ready
that
for Rich to
brass
jump.
in there.
Ready for Rich to come on in here and do a quick sand and paint this lazarette area.
Okay, so wow, look at all the fresh bolts. All trimmed off, huh?
Yeah.
So we don't, like, as we pack stuff in there, it doesn't shred all the sails and bags, little bags.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we put some, like, maybe some wax or something on top of them, just so
you know what I've done here? Let me see if I can find my little tool. What we do is we cut them off.
Yeah.
We take these little bad boys right here,
Oh, sweet.
and they have a little bit of an indentation on the end there.
Right.
I'll cut them off with the wheel.
Okay.
We got a real thin carborundum wheel that cuts them real fast and quick.
Okay.
This right here, we just on the end.
Oh, just
drill,
okay.
and it takes them down just as sharp.
Takes the burrs off.
It takes the burrs off, and they're just as sharp as one that hasn't been cut. We've done it
Beautiful.
here. This is all ready for Richard to come in and do a quick sand.
What needs to be done more?
Well, the last two planks, 8 and 9.
Oh, okay.
Of course, 8 and 9, and this is just the one section where he hasn't came in, and we like to go like this between each frame there,
All right.
and then give it a final paint job. And everything back up in the transom there, up underneath. As you remember, I think you have video of it. It's all been painted.
Yeah, it's all beautiful.
It's beautiful. So we're not going to bury something that's.
So this is all looking good and clean and kind of done.
Same thing going on in here. You can see some of the repairs we've done.
I see you've already painted those, yeah. So show me some of the repairs.
Well, like, there's some stuff that needed to be filled, re-laminated. That is an old repair. Not from us. That was they cut out part of a frame and redid it. So we kind of had to reshape. Yeah, we had to reshape that and try using our old holes there. And there's where the exhaust block is going to go. And that piece of wood that's not been painted.
Okay.
We want to get a good bond with the epoxy on there. So.
Gotcha.
See the steering block. Everything's been bolted.
Oh, that's all new there?
Yeah, we replaced all the bolts. In fact, there's one that has been painted. You can see that stainless bolt.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we replaced all the old ones with new stuff as we went.
Great.
That's pretty much things now.
This is port side.
All new bolts there.
Nice.
Reinstalled that little battery box shelf.
Oh, that's a whole new block there, huh?
That block? No. It's the original block.
Okay.
Those things were in great shape, so
Okay, good.
we didn't want to tear those out.
No. But that's a new butt block right there.
Yep, that's one of our butts.
Yeah.
And then you can see those holes right there.
Yeah, they're still left.
Those have been drilled down a little bit, and we're going to dowel those and fill them. There's
Okay.
a couple here and there that need to be done.
Those don't take bolts. Those are just get
No,
doweled and
no.
filled. Okay.
Some of their holes were right on seams. Not all of them, but some of them, like those ones that are drilled, they were just right on the seams.
All right.
Course 8 and 9 right here.
Course 8 and 9
You
showing
can
up.
see the start of our caulking bevels where the red lead starts.
Okay.
See that through there? So these will all be covered, but we cut the long ones. There was a couple that were just a little proud, but
Okay.
like these ones here, we're gonna leave because they're gonna be behind everything.
Right.
Nothing. There's no storage there. Nothing gonna
No.
be popping up against those.
Otherwise, this is all clean.
This has all been painted by Rich. Sides here.
Nice. All
Ready to
looks
go.
good. Ready to go.
On here.
So there's still some repair work on. Look at that.
Yeah, just a
frame.
little bit of cracks here. As you see, all the fasteners are right down the center of the frame.
Yeah, just cracked it.
It's not the best. It's not something I would recommend, but
So is that one gonna need a sister?
no, it's not gnarly. There was a couple that were gnarly. We put the sister frames on them, but this one, what we'll do is I'll spread it, and we'll force Wes's
stuff
down in
in
there, and then we'll clamp it up really good and re-drill.
Gotcha.
Good as new. There was a couple that definitely did need sister frames, and we've gone through the work on that already. I don't think we're going to be finding anything else here, so this is more of the same.
You guys mind if I make some noise?
New butt block.
Go right ahead.
What? No noise. We're doing our interview.
What's that?
He's doing his interview. No noise. I'll be gone soon.
So yeah, here's some bolt Those are all new bolts on the shear clamp there.
Okay.
But that was one, I think when you were here last, those weren't in yet. And this framing in here, the stateroom, we put the framing back up that we had out of the way because of those bolts.
Okay, so now all those bolts are in?
Bolts behind here. So those are all in, so we reinstalled the framing, all ready to go.
That's the framing for the ceiling planks.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are all
actually
in.
Our box comes down right here, but there are ceiling planks in there too.
Okay. All right, so those were out, those were put back in.
Yeah, both sides we had all the new bolts, and so those have been reinstalled. Up forward, same, just this is all going to be covered in ceiling planks right here.
Okay, but this again, all pretty much done.
And up there you can see the ones that have been marred. The rest of them are painted, but those are all ones that had to be resunk.
Oh, those are the ones he was talking about?
Yeah.
Because they weren't deep enough?
No. So we just sunk them a little deeper so they could accept the plug. And then,
Gotcha.
We sanded down, so that's all done and finished right there. Ready for Rich to crawl up in there and do his magic.
Good thing Rich is so young and able-bodied.
He loves those tight spots.
Well, we're just filling these bolt holes that when we put in that big transom knee, remember?
Yeah.
We had to come out through the transom at such a steep angle that we couldn't sink them deep enough for, you know, like screw or plugs. So they're in there about 1/4 inch or better. But because of the angle, they made a real odd shaped hole. So we're just gonna fill these. These were not, because those will later be used for the, remember that iron?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
flangey thing?
Yeah, iron, stainless.
Stainless. That holds that, those are holes for that?
Yeah, those are the original holes for that. So we'll reuse those. And just, you know, you mix up this stuff and you find little holes and dents everywhere and stuff you missed. You know. Here you go, Clint. Like, he's got a couple little rivet holes up here that are too shallow for plugs, so you can use the rest of that batch. 48 volts of rolling thunder.
48 what?
48 volts of rolling thunder. Anyway, I took it on his longest trip to see what would happen when it actually ran out of battery. So I had one guy tell me, yeah, you'll be going long and it'll just dump you. I went, that's not how batteries act.
Yeah.
So I went up and down the bike path and I saw my little warning light come on. And I came to the shop and went up and down till finally it was just, didn't have much left. So I knew then that I knew my range, and I knew that the battery doesn't just leave you. You got about a mile or two maybe, and you can feel it starting to dog it.
And then you can just plug it in 110 power?
Yeah, and so another part of that experiment, I always experiment with everything, coffee, you know, but was to see how long it would take to charge a completely dead battery. And what I came up with is about, for every 1 minute of riding, it's about 8 minutes of charging.
Okay.
So if you ride for half an hour, that's a long time. That's 4 hours to charge it on 110. However, my good friend Greg has a 48 volt solar panel. He's going to bring that to me. And so pretty soon I think I'll be plug free.
Doug's getting tired. So are you seeing some progress here with the glue going away?
Oh yeah, the main thing is, see, Clint's going to follow up with the other sander for that.
Oh, for that final bit?
Yeah, that and then the board sanding after that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm getting, this is almost done.
Just trying to get the shape. You should wear a mask.
Come around here.
Freaking a small hurricane up here. For those of you who don't.
Now if you look here, you can see that this line is starting to get real nice. Both sides.
Yeah, beautiful.
So when you sand it, you just take the shine off the paint.
Okay.
And here we glued it to the outside, but on the inside we didn't glue it to the back wraps. It's bedded in dolphinite.
Did not glue it.
No, here it right here it is. On the outer rabbit. On the back rabbit, it's bedded in dolphinite.
In dolphinite, okay.
And
that's better than glue?
well, the glue here is mainly to keep the paint from cracking.
Okay.
If you had a caulking seam here, like it didn't before, it had a spline there. If you had a caulking seam, it could dry out and crack. So that's why we glued it here and bedded it on the back rabbit.
So next is Smith's.
Smith's and a couple other oddball things like drilling some holes for the drains and whatnot. Making sure that we're not painting ourselves into a corner when we go back up. And then we go back up and on with the deck.
Okay. Deck or interior?
Well, both. I mean, but there was the ceiling planks that we made and fitted and all that.
It's a fly on me.
He loves you. Will be the last thing to go on the boat probably, because why put them in and bang them up? And,
right.
you know.
No, those. But now we can move into the galley.
Exactly. Yep. The galley, the head, the closet, and and the electrical, the main saloon.
That's on our next episode. We're going to see a lot of action.
Yeah.
Christmas, what plans for Christmas, gentlemen?
The usual. And take the tree down and the lights on the same day.
Well,
No, it's going to be fun.
plans for Christmas.
We only have a couple of weeks.
Lay low. Let's see, what's today, the 5th? Oh, we got over 3 weeks, yeah. I'm going to be here.
I want to have a party here, like, in the early summer, so we can show people how it's almost ready to go.
Sounds good.
It'd be a hell of a party.
It will be.
I might want to stay off the booze that day.